I'm Travis from Focus Source Podiatry, and today we're having a look at the Tarkine Goshawk V2. So I've had a little bit of a play with the shoe, and it's quite a nice addition into sort of that market of a lower drop with a nice wider toe box. So now it's not going to be as wide as your Ultra and your Turbo Athletic, but if you are in a traditional standard shoe, you are going to notice that it's not a little bit wider, you're not going to get cramped in that toe box. And it's quite nice because some people do find that when they go from those narrow toe boxes into the wider toe box of the Ultra and the Topos, that they do slosh around a little bit just as their foot is getting more used to having a bit more space. So it can be nice just to transition into this and then lower down from there. It's also nice because it gives that cushion being going on a 6 mil, that you're coming from like an 8 or a 12, you're not getting that big shock down to the 0. And so you can just chuck them on and go through your sort of normal runs without having to transition out and slow it into those sort of positions. Now these shoes have a sock-like upper, which for me wasn't sort of my thing. I found it a bit too snug in places and couldn't sort of get the fit the way I wanted to because I couldn't adjust things around it, just the way it's designed. But if you are liking those sort of feels, that tighter compression as you go on your run, you will like that sock upper. The thing I found though is that the laces, they are built underneath, and so I couldn't lock lace it or change my lacing. And I found when I was walking, I was slipping a little bit, but once I put them on to run, I felt like they locked in and I didn't move, which was quite nice because I was a bit worried at the beginning that I was going to get a bit of heel slippage. And I found that that was the case in my long runs and my shorter ones, and even my speed sets. The thing with these ones in the speed sets is they held up really well. Even though they are designed as a long miler, they were nice and light, and I didn't feel like they were heavy and clunky. So for me, it's sort of like around those 330s, 4s to 4 minute Ks, and I found they were still responsive through that position, and I didn't feel like I was sliding or blistering or getting any issues at a faster pace. So I quite like that for them. Only thing I do find is in some of my longer runs, I do feel a bit of pressure up under the cuboid, so it's outside aspect, and for me I think that's just the way that my foot sits in the shoe, and then I get a little bit of overhanging, maybe to do with some of the way the upper sits for me just isn't right. But all in all, I think that's more of the way I run, not a sort of critique of the shoe itself, because it does hold up pretty well otherwise. In terms of the way it rides and feels, it's sort of moderate to the ride. It's not super soft like you'll see in some new Asics, and it's not a very heavy clunky shoe either. For me, I run more onto the forefoot, so I don't get as much of the bounce that the shoe has. I do find playing around with it as a heel strike, it does have quite a snappy sort of bounce out of the heel, which is quite nice if you are into that sort of more back end of the shoe. But coming further forward, I just didn't find it has the same snap that it does when you're into that heel position. It is, like I said, it's a really nice shoe for where it sits in the price point and its market, and it is a nice addition into the space with a nice wider toe box. So yeah, that's the Tarkine Goshawk V2. Go check it out.